About 1.1 million New Jersey residents are food insecure. More than 800,000 of them rely on SNAP benefits, commonly known as food stamps. Well, under the law known as the One Big Beautiful Bill, changes were made to the SNAP benefits program that expanded work requirements for many who depend on SNAP. So what impact has it had? Well, new research conducted by the Hamilton Project at the Brookings Institute shows that the requirements actually have not increased employment, but they have decreased the number of people eligible for SNAP. That means more people depending on meals at their local food banks and pantries. With us now is President and CEO of the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Elizabeth McCarthy. Elizabeth, so great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
We know that there are these increased work requirements. What are you seeing on your end in terms of how that's played out for recipients?
Yeah, the impact is really just starting to be felt. Those went into place in New Jersey on February 1st with a 3-month implementation period. So we're really expecting that in a few weeks is when we'll really see demand start to go up. But I think the most alarming thing is in talking to our neighbors when they come to pantries, just how little awareness there is about these work requirements and how people can comply. It hasn't really been information distributed, so we're trying to do that, but obviously can't do it on the wide scale at this point.
Yeah, what does that, we're going to get into the food distribution, but what does that effort look like on your end in terms of education and really helping folks understand what it all means?
Yeah, we've been working with all of the pantries in our network, which is about 800, really trying to make sure they have the information, directing people to the right website. But I feel like there's still every day there's people who do not know that this is changing and that this could affect them personally.
And if there's a documentation issue here, right? And like you said, only a couple weeks out since it changed. But just tell us what it means in terms of paperwork and folks having to complete the right documents.
That's the hard part. I mean, many of the people on SNAP are working, but the documentation is really difficult to complete. I mean, I've looked at the forms. They're, a very high reading level that's required. You'd have to have, a computer and a way to upload them. And also it requires 20 hours every week, which some people who are, if they're in the gig economy or if they have seasonal employment, they might be working a lot more than that. Let's say in the summer, if they have a job at the shore or something, but in the winter, it could be harder to have those hours. So that's really our issue with, a lot of the people are working, but will not be able to comply with this law.
So what does that mean then for you, for the 800 partners that you have across the state who are trying to meet those needs for those who are hungry or food insecure?
Well, for every meal that our pantry system, even though we provide over 90 million meals a year, that's about every one of our meals, 9 are provided by SNAP. So if you think of that, we would not be able to absorb all of the people that need to come to start pantries after, if their SNAP benefits run out. So it's pretty scary. I mean, obviously, we'll do everything we can to make up the difference, but it's an exponential number of meals.
So folks come to you expecting to be able to use those SNAP benefits, or I should say through your partners that are actually delivering some of the food on the ground. Have you ever had to turn anyone away or tell them, I'm sorry, you're not eligible for this? Of course, there are other offerings, but have you had to do that?
Pantries don't require SNAP. So that is, they can use SNAP at grocery stores, at farmers markets, at different sort of retail food establishments. Pantries, all the food is free.
You're getting that federal assistance back. That's how you're getting the SNAP.
Exactly.
What does that mean, though, for those on the ground who are doing the work, who are serving the food? Have you had to increase fundraising efforts? Have you had to ask for donations? What does that actually look like in practice?
We absolutely have. And, in November, when SNAP benefits were cut off altogether, I have to say people in New Jersey were incredibly generous and really did help us make up that difference, because all of a sudden we had lines literally a mile long in some counties of people who lost their SNAP benefits overnight and had to turn to us. So it is really nice that people fundraise, that people donate, but we cannot make up the difference just by donated dollars.
Help us understand the costs. What does it cost to feed a family of 4? What does it cost the food bank? And then how are you able to monetize dollars that you receive?
Yeah, every dollar that's donated to us makes up 3 meals. So that's pretty good. We do have very good buying power. We also have amazing partners, grocery store chains, those kind of places that donate food to us, as well as individuals who have food drives. So it's very economical if people want to donate money, that it is 3 meals for a person, but that can only still go so far.
I'm going to go back to that question. Have you ever had to turn folks away because there's a pantry that simply doesn't have the resources to feed them? Have you hit that critical point?
We have not at this point, because I shouldn't say if a pantry does, there's usually another one nearby that they could send somebody to. But we are concerned that that could happen in the coming months, that we would have to either turn people away or give people a lot less food, certainly a lot less of the foods that are more expensive, like proteins and fresh produce.
There is such a wealth disparity between folks here in New Jersey. What's your message to those who aren't struggling, who can afford to put food on the table as they think about maybe their community members who aren't so fortunate?
Yeah, it's so easy to be able to come volunteer either your time or to do a food drive or to donate. On our website, there's all sorts of options of ways people can do that. And we're lucky. We have seen people respond in those moments. Again, it's just not the magnitude that we've ever needed before. So that's our concern. But absolutely, if people can donate, I think people are always surprised that, they know somebody who's food insecure. They might not realize it right now, but it happens in every single community in the state, even the ones that we consider wealthy communities.
You just took the next question out of my mouth. It's not always what we imagine hunger to look like, right?
It's not, because some families are doing fine and then someone loses a job or there's a huge medical emergency or their car breaks down and there's just kind of enough to put them over the edge that they can't make it to that next paycheck.
That's really great information. Elizabeth McCarthy, President and CEO of the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.